Well, that's not going to work. We were at minus 20 last week with wind speeds of up to 50 miles an hour here. My water pipes all froze. I'm in uh, I'm in a little town called Siebert, Colorado. It's about halfway between Lyman and the Kansas border. So it's about 40 miles from the Kansas border.
Might brings us to 8, but we'll wait just a little longer.
Okay, I think I now have the audio working. Uh, just as I fired up my computer and opened the software I used for webcasting, it did an update and wiped out all my settings.
Oh,
That was about 10 minutes ago. So I've got on the next meeting, I'm going to have to figure out how to get the audio working better. I'm simply picking it up with a microphone now. At least it's working.
so we
Show the screens of everybody who's the top something.
well, there should be a way to get the gallery. It should be at the top of your screen. Looks like a checkbox there.
Your screen.
That's because I'm sharing it.
Okay, that's what I'm thinking.
So I'm looking for that too. I'm
That's
still,
what I could do when I went full screen. It went really full, but it's just only showing 5.
You don't have
That's
to
not gallery.
go full screen, that's for sure. If you click the little arrow at the bottom of the row of photos, you'll see the rest of our monitors. So you'll only see 5 at a time. Well, he's got it in the presenter.
Okay, that's fine. Too bad.
Hey, Dwight, hi, Scott.
Hey, got it working fine there. I updated Zoom, so okay.
Scott, you.
I'm doing well. How are you?
Very good. Yeah, I don't think, Dwight, you've ever met Ryan Reed or Roger Goldman.
I met Roger, but Ryan, I don't think I have. But good to see you.
Hey, Dwight.
My screen is sort of flickering there. I don't know if it is to everybody else, but it's flickering here.
That looks like your
I
camera.
lost everybody now.
We've still got you.
Well,
Keep smiling.
good, I don't have anybody else. I hear something and it went away. Oh, there's Roger, okay. I have whoever's speaking.
The flickering on Dwight's thing appears to be that his USB.
Yeah.
The flickering on Dwight's image appears to be that the USB connection between your camera and the computer, or if it's a built-in, your computer is too busy trying to do other stuff. If you can shut a few other things down, it might help.
Go ahead and get started so we don't take up the rest of everybody's night.
Let's do it.
The first thing we want to do on the agenda is vote on a vice president and secretary so that we can have our full set of officers. And as I said in there, currently Brian has been previously, Brian was all 4 officers, which is legal according to the bylaw. Bylaws say one person can hold 2 or more offices. At this point, via the emails that we were doing earlier, I was elected president, and Brian is staying as treasurer. So I'd like to go ahead and see if anybody would like to self-nominate for either the vice president or the secretary levels. And if not, then Brian and I will share those two as well.
Really not a lot to do. I mean, we'll have one meeting a year and maybe one at some other time if we need.
Yeah, I don't foresee more than 2 meetings, some email chatter a couple of times throughout the year. But seeing no one raising their hand or speaking, I guess I would like to, the secretary, and are you willing to be vice president, Brian?
Yeah, I'll be vice president and treasurer.
Okay. If everyone is willing to go along with that, let me hear your,
Aye.
any opposed? And so I am now secretary and taking notes for the rest of the meeting. The next thing on this agenda is the annual report. Brian, would you like to comment on that?
Yeah, let me just throw it in here if I can. All right, so here's our annual report. It's really pretty simple. This is something, Frank, that we're going to want to post to the public if we can do it.
It's already up there.
So from a financial perspective, we have about 10,329. We operate on a cash basis, and our bank is Wells Fargo Bank. For this fiscal year, which is June through July, so July through June, this shows the calendar year, but for the calendar year, we've had 3,787 in donations, and in program expenses, we've had $3,184. And that leaves us with the 10,329.25 balance. The rest of the report is really our public benefit activities. And this is what funders look for and what we're doing with the money that they do give us. Chance to read this. Are there any questions or comments on it? Roger actually carried out most of the public benefit activities this year.
Can I make a comment?
Sure.
I just am in awe of everything that has been done, and like you said, primarily Roger. Thank you so much. Like, it's amazing, and what's been digitized and what's actually happened. It's pretty impressive when you read the whole thing and everything that's been done. I have one edit maybe under traveling Nigeria archive displays. In 2019 August in Calgary, if you could just change the title there to Canadian Rockies Rodeo North instead of Canadian Rockies North Gay Rodeo.
Canadian Rockies Rodeo North, okay?
Canadian Rockies, yeah, Canadian Rockies Rodeo North, CRN.
I'd just like to second Judy's comment. Speaking as a career archivist, this is really amazing work, Roger, and everybody should be commended that's involved. I too am just in awe of everything that we put out there, display, and for acknowledging and disseminating information about this. It's just excellent. I did have one question. And forgive my maybe ignorance of what's gone on the past couple of years. We know the loop out here now in Victoria. But I was just wondering what the difference is going forth about donations of the archives between the Autry and the One Archives in Los Angeles. I see that going forth, paper copies, any multiple copies amongst above and beyond those listed do go to the Autry. But it looks like most things are now in the, or going eventually going over there, or they staying separate. And again, forgive my ignorance, if I missed something.
I will answer that. They will be staying separate unless the Autry decides to donate, but I don't expect them to. I'm sure they're going to hang on to what they have. And are a little disappointed that the board has decided to send the original hard copy convention and board minutes and that type of information to one. One is the largest gay lesbian archives in the world, and they've got a great research center. There was some difficulty at one point with confusion about the access to materials to us, and so the board decided that they would go to one in the future and make sure that they signed a commitment that we documents in time. That prior difficulty has been straightened out with the Autry, and I do have a pretty good working relationship with them at this time.
One thing to keep in mind that, Frank has done a really great job of getting everything online. So I think, Frank, correct me if I'm wrong, and Roger, correct me if I'm wrong, but most of the things that are at the Autry are also available, either digitized or displayable in some format on the Gay Rodeo History site, or is that not true?
I'm not sure how much the Autry actually has. The only inventory I ever got from them was a listing of posters and programs. And we now have all the programs that the Autry have, but they've probably got a bunch of posters that we don't have. But since I don't know what the inventory is that they have, then I can't answer your question correctly.
I see.
I do know that show that they have some correspondence levels and days that we don't have. I don't believe we have. They got a system, and in September, October, November, they were reorganizing everything that they've got. I'm going over there in January. GSGRA is having its annual convention the middle of January, and so while I'm in Palm Springs, I'll head on over to LA area for maybe a couple of days, and I'll have an opportunity to see if they finished reorganizing the stuff that they have. When they first put it in, they just took it out of the rodeo boxes, and they just inventoried everything and put it in one box, and it wasn't sorted. When I first talked to them about the reorganizing, they said, well, we never reorganize stuff. We always take it the way that the donor sends it to us. And I'm like, well, it really could be improved. And now that they got this grant money, so they did go ahead and reorganize. Hopefully it's done, and I can find out more specifically what they do have. It's a place that I can stay for housing. So if I can get over there for a few days at a time, I'll try and go through that and see if there's anything in particular that we really would like to get scanned.
Great, Roger. There are a couple of other comments from me, if you don't mind. This might be of some particular interest for you, but just before COVID, we were contacted by the Smithsonian Institute to have basically a certain square footage dedicated to gay rodeo, LGBT, Western lifestyle, etc. Of course, when the previous president of the United States came into office, that sort of went away. But there's sort of a resurgence of that interest developing now in the Washington area. So that's something I think that we can be, sort of very much involved with. The original idea was to have each association donate something of particular significance to their association and have it as the Smithsonian put it, preserved for eternity at the Smithsonian. So
That would be awesome.
that opportunity may come around again. And just one more thing really quickly. There is a LGBT sport museum being developed here in Tempe, Arizona. And last year, and they're very interested in having some materials from gay rodeo, gay Western life in their museum. And then my final comment will just be this. IGRA has amassed a, a significant amount of stuff over the last nearly 50 years. And it's not like we're going to run out of objects, materials, ephemera, whatever it might be. It's really a matter of making sure Frank has a photo or a copy or something.
I have two questions, or actually comments. I guess the first one is at the Smithsonian, you mentioned the square footage dedicated. Is that in their archives or as a permanent exhibit out on the floor?
Boy, I believe that was going to be in their archive. And it was like 20 by.
And the other thing I was wondering about too, archivists everywhere. Are the associations still being, I guess, prompted or encouraged to either make paper copies of everything that's digital, or at least maintain a digital archives of all their programs, all their minutes and whatnot? Just say, digital things have a tendency as things go forward and formats progress of disappearing, whereas paper copies, never disappear.
The member associations, we haven't really had a good working relationship as far as I've talked to some of them. Some of them are saving things. Some of them don't ever respond to my messages. But I'm going to try again, send messages out to all the trustees and all of the member association presidents and encourage them to get us, especially everything that's digitized. But if they've got other things that are pre-digitized, to scan them, they should be saving them themselves if they're not ready to donate it to us. Liberty Rodeo Association gave us everything when they ceased operation. I've got some stuff from LA Rodeo. Actually, I've got all of their right now. Fortunately, there's some but yeah, we need to reach out to the member associations more in this coming year. And as they change officers, let the new officers know that they need to pick this up. One other thing I want to comment on the report, when I sent the these that have been going on to Brian, I wrote it in kind of a first person way. And if it's going to be posted online, people aren't going to really understand some of it. So I will go through and try to edit it more so that it would make sense to somebody reading it as to who's doing what. And I'll get that to you, Frank. And we might need to change. We're going to have to change that Canadian Rodeo North, and then I'll change some of the writing to make it better explanation as to who's doing things rather than first person.
Good. So I'm done.
And Roger, as you know, the queen of editing here, if you need anything to be proofread, I'm in.
Okay, sounds good.
Because you know how I am.
I do. You're perfect in all ways.
I'm annoyingly anal retentive. Yes, I am.
If no one has any further comments on this, one thing that was left off on possible future archive displays, I forgot to mention that in 2025, Washington, D.C.
I've heard the same thing.
Oh,
And that's going to be the 50th anniversary of Gay Rodeo in 2025. So it's probably something we can help with.
Okay, moving on, the third item is just an editorial correction. I don't think we need to vote on anything. It's not Arizona County, it's Maricopa County, and we can just make that change. So unless anyone has any comments on that, that's pretty simple, straightforward. Now, Gregory Hinton is not with us tonight, but he did make a nomination in where where Brian was stepping down from president. I moved up, and does anyone want to, since Gregory's not here, would anybody else like to go ahead and present that motion today? Or Brian Gilland, he presented the 2022 Paladin Award.
I'll make that nomination.
I'll second it.
I'll second. Judy, was that Judy making the motion?
Judy made the motion, and a couple of us seconded. You can pick one.
Okay.
Roger, you didn't notice that I moved that to the bottom of the pile so I could exit gracefully.
Quickly, too late.
I didn't notice that. I'm looking at the room and it's in my hands, and you're not showing the agenda right at the moment, so.
Oh,
Yeah, we're still on minute.
okay. Hang on one second.
Yeah.
Sure.
Anyway, we've got a nomination and a second. Is there any discussion on this?
Hurry up.
Seeing no discussion, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, no.
I'll abstain, and I'll thank you very much for your comment.
I'll get to work and make the award, Brian.
I've already got that going.
Okay, the next thing, resolution to allow only one signature on checks. The resolution reads, checks for the payment of money shall only require the signature of the treasurer or president until such time as the board of directors requires signatures of 2 elected officers. Can somebody make a motion to present that? Patrick makes a motion. Anyone second?
I'll second. I can second that. Roger, just a quick note from me as treasurer. So much of this is done electronically. Like, I don't even sign the check. I just go into our online account and send it to the vendor or the person that's paid for. So I think, may want to. We don't really have a check request point of view or a check request process where we would have 2 signatures, but generally I would get an email with receipts or whatever it might be, and I would use that as documentation for making electronic payment to the individual. So.
Is this It's Wells Fargo, so I guess it can be handled anywhere, but you have a specific bank that has your signature on file?
Wells Fargo
Wells Fargo in Phoenix?
in Phoenix, yeah.
I don't know if it's necessary, but I'm wondering if I should be access to the account in case something was to happen to you.
Well, I think what we can do is, when you're in Phoenix for rodeo in January, if you can, we can certainly, February, rather, yeah. We can certainly pay a visit to that bank. It wouldn't take long at all. And secondly, I can make sure that I provide you with the username and password for the bank access.
That works for me. I was thinking February would be a good time to get together. Does it, up to this point, that's how it's been handled. Is electronic signature is going on to the checks at this point. And, we haven't got a lot of money in the bank, and the checks going out aren't great. So unless anyone has any concerns, anything else, any further discussion? All in favor of this resolution, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Any abstentions?
Who else isn't joining us?
Oh, look who's there. Hello, Brian.
Third.
Can you hear us, Brian? Roger.
Yes.
Okay. Did you vote on that last measure by any chance?
No, just got into the meeting.
Well, we are now on the fourth item, social media. And small group, I'm not looking to really have a motion on the floor at this point. I'd just like to open it to discussion and let Brian explain about this.
Well, I'll tell you what. So the foundation has a social media page or group or something. When Facebook made its changes about 6 months ago, related to groups and how they operate, the Gay Rodeo Foundation Facebook sort of got out of control. And I am looking for somebody who has some knowledge of Facebook groups / page management that could take a look at our page and see what settings we need to adjust to. And if you go to the page now, it's really a free for all out there. It's a lot of to the foundation. Or secondarily, if we need to deactivate the current page / group, whatever it might be, and create a new one, if somebody is good with that kind of thing, I think Chuck, I was hoping Chuck would be on because I know he's very good with it. If there's nobody in the meeting that's good with it, then I would talk to Chuck about it and see if he could help sort that out.
Brian, I concur that Chuck is really good and he's on there all the time anyway. But I would suggest also that it be a group on Facebook, just because it's a little easier for people to get into the group and to post on the group as opposed to a page.
Right.
But also that it might be on, we might advise to put it on Instagram as well. Because there's a lot of people that are on Instagram that are no longer on Facebook, so and it's a little more current.
Is there anybody on now that's Facebook / Instagram? Yes, I do. That's good.
I don't Instagram. I'm on Facebook a lot. I don't set up a whole lot. I'm mostly out there commenting more than anything else and posting. But I do share what Judy says. I know for us in my dance group, we actually set up, and it was a group rather than a page, and there's a lot of participants by the people who joined the page. And they, recommended and invite people to the page. So it
We're
there's a
talking,
lot more conversation.
a lot of you're talking a group, though, not a page, correct?
Right, right. So I was speaking to what Judy was mentioning is that, on Facebook, it's definitely, I think we definitely do better as a group in terms of encouraging people to interact a bit more.
All right, so what I will do is, with your knowledge, is I will ask Chuck to deactivate the current Facebook page and recreate a public with Instagram connections and so on.
Now, a group has to have a manager, correct? I'm assuming you have Chuck as the manager.
I was saying, yeah, I think they needed admin. You can actually add more than one, I believe. I'm actually looking for my, how they're set up.
Yeah, you can have 2 or 3 administrators on
Yeah.
Facebook. So,
That's what we usually do, yeah.
and the same with Instagram, you can have.
And I'm gonna say, you may want to, and this will also fall into things, that Chuck probably already knows too. But again, making it private versus public to eliminate a lot of the scams and hoaxes and fake pages, people that like to troll. Might be a way to go with it too. I mean, there are ways to set it up. Because if it's totally and fully public, anybody can join, and that really does sometimes invite controversy and problem. So,
All right, well, I will take that on, and I'll discuss that with Chuck.
yeah.
That sounds good to me. Does anyone have any other comments for Brian?
So when it's back up and running, I will, Patrick. Thank you.
Yeah, because then we can start inviting people and, doing that kind of thing too, which propagates it a lot. So even if you make it private, people can invite people to join, and then the administrator or administrators have to approve. Yeah.
Any other discussion on this particular item? Okay. Hold on here. I don't believe, I think we can just let it go with this. I would like to go back to the Paladin Award for just a minute. Brian Rogers, just for your information, it was voted unanimously for Brian Helander to get the 2022 Paladin Award. It would be nice if we could do this of this, and I was thinking that if we talk with Ron Tresley, might we be able to do that at the Phoenix Rodeo? Does that sound like a good idea?
I think it's doable, Roger. I've got Raymond Norris, who's actually a good friend of Ron and myself. He's actually the one who puts these awards together for us. So I've already told him to get busy in his workshop.
I hope he doesn't spell your name wrong.
I'll double check.
That's worse things, right, Brian?
That is worse things. B-R-Y-A-N. You could do B-R-Y-A-N.
That would be wrong.
That would be terrible.
It might come out brain.
Too.
Anyway, it's nice. I appreciate all of you getting online for this meeting. Secretarial report, send it out to everyone in the next few days. And I hope you all have a happy New Year.
Thanks to all of you.
Thanks, Roger.
New Year.
Good to see everybody. Sorry I had to be late.
Hey, you're looking good.
Hey, you're amazing, so.
Good to see you. Hopefully we'll see you around a little bit sometime.
I think you will for sure.
Very
Good.
Sounds good.
All right.
All right.
Take care.
Thank you.
Meeting is adjourned.
Moved and seconded.
Good to see you, Lefty. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Still there, Brian?
And